Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hello and welcome to Wednesday night Sports Minute. I am hosting tonight, Big B. I am joined by three of my fellow colleagues. Syrup Crispy Bacon, how you doing, bud?
Doing good. Just surviving a heat wave, but what's new in Texas? So.
Yeah, that is true. We're also joined by Dr. Alcorn, as he's going by tonight. He's got some Dr. Thugonomics, I guess, going on. So, what's up there, Mr. John Alcorn?
Yes, sir. I am the Dr. Phil of football. I diagnose what's wrong with your team, and I don't BS it. So I'm the Dr. Phil when it comes to football knowledge. So you will address me as Doctor. No, just kidding. This happened to be on, but I asked if tonight was Wednesday because I've been working so much lately that I've lost track of days. I'm like, oh, today's Sunday. Nope, it's actually Wednesday. Oh, today's Friday. No, it's Monday. And so it's just been all over the place.
Nope, I think we all do that at some point in time. So, and then we're joined by James Gonzalez. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. Just got off of work, just got home. Long day. Ready to see what the weekend holds, but I'm happy to be here and get into these exciting topics as always.
Yeah, first off, James, I'm a little disappointed. I know we talked a little bit about it, but you could not go to the Anaheim Angels game tonight. We just want to give a big shout out. Congratulations to our fellow colleague, Callan. He is doing the public address announcing tonight for the Anaheim. He made it to the show today, so big shout out to him. And hope to have him on so we can talk about his experience down the road. So congrats to him.
Can we get his sports card for like PA announcers? Like his overall is like we had to figure out his like overall since he's a rookie. But once he gets going, it'll be worth more. And so I'll be curious to see what we come up with.
Like a custom sports card,
we'll have to do something, but definitely, he shared a little clip of his opening, and he definitely fits the job description. So good luck to him, and on the road it brings him. So with that being said, we got somebody backstage waiting, but he's not connected. Yeah, so Chris, when he gets ready, bring him up.
Yeah.
So let's start off. Next Tuesday is the All-Star game. So Chris, can you pop up the first roster there?
Hold on. I have it.
Yeah.
You want American League or National?
Whichever one you pull up first. I don't care.
Okay.
All right, so there is the NL All-Stars. I can't read them. It looks like Peterson out in...
Let me see if I can pull up a written one.
Yeah, let's see here. Sorry for a little technical issues. I mean...
I can read them off if you want.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead there, James. You read them off.
Okay, in left field, you got Jock Peterson of the San Francisco Giants. In center field, you got Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves. In right field, hometown Mookie Betts of L.A. Third baseman is Manny Machado, who will get booed mercilessly playing for the Padres.
I don't know. Normally, the All-Star game, they cheer for everybody that's on their side. So
we'll find out. Trey Turner will be the shortstop for the Dodgers. Jazz Chisholm Jr. will be the second baseman for the Miami Marlins. Paul Goldschmidt is the first baseman from the St. Louis Cardinals. Wilson Contreras will be catching for the Chicago Cubs. And then the designated hitter who will not participate will be Bryce Harper. And then the legacy selection will be Albert Pujols of St. Louis.
All right. So, James, why don't you just keep going? You got the whole roster there?
Yeah, I got the whole roster. You want National League reserves?
Yeah, go National League reserves and pitchers.
So since Harper is sidelined, Garrett Cooper of Miami. Yes, Miami will have two Marlins on the All-Star team. At catcher, you got Travis Denard of the Braves. At first base, you got Pete Alonso of the Mets, C.J. Cron of the Rockies. Second baseman, you got Jeff McNeil of the Mets. Third baseman, you got Nolan Arenado of St. Louis. Shortstop, you got Dansby Swanson of the Braves. Outfielders, you got Kyle Schwarber of the Phillies, Starlin Marte of the Mets, Ian Happ of the Cubs, and then Juan Soto of the Nationals. And then Contreras' brother, William of the Braves, will be the other DH. So that's really cool to see two brothers in the game there. The starting pitchers will be Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins, Corbin Burns of the Brewers, Joe Musgrove of the Friars, the Padres. Max Fried will be going for the Braves, Tony Goslin of the Dodgers, Luis Castillo of the Reds, Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers, and then Carlos Rendon, who was just added, who I saw pitch a complete game on Saturday live, will be going with the Giants. Relievers, you got Josh Hader of the Milwaukee Brewers, Edwin Diaz of the Mets, Ryan Hesley of the St. Louis Cardinals, David Bednar of the Pirates, the lone Pirate representative, and then Joe Matiply of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So that's all of the National League there.
All right. So is there any shockers right now that you guys see? The one that stands out to me the most is Padres closer Rogers did not make it. I know that he's finally having a good year, so that could be, because we do know the All-Star voting is, fan friendly quite a bit. So, but any shockers you guys see, or guys that should have been on there?
Austin Riley, the third baseman for the Braves.
Okay.
He's hitting 282, which is really high these days. He has 23 home runs and 56 RBI. Now, I know first base is always tough. You got Alonso and Goldschmidt already there, so that's going to be very tough to get past those two. So I guess that's why he did not get in. Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler of the Phillies, those starting pitchers, those are their two workhorses. I thought maybe one of those guys would get in, but it's a very crowded crowd there for sure. That's the only two I got for the National League.
Chris, how about you? Anybody that stands out or no? John, I know you're kind of new to baseball, but what do you think with the All-Star selections?
Here's what I think. One thing, I'm a Padres fan, but I'm a huge sports fan. So if someone that's a rival of my team is on my side, I'm still gonna boo them, because that's just how I am when it comes to sports. I'm a big homer, but honestly, I wouldn't say there's really a surprise. To be honest, this is gonna be my first All-Star week or game to watch, and so it would definitely be pretty interesting.
Another name that jumps
fun.
Yeah, the home run derby's fun. Another name that kind of jumps out, and I'm going to kind of poke fun at Mr. Barber himself, Adam, because he wanted Swanson traded month into the season, couldn't, and I got to honestly agree with them, because I want the same for Sano, and but he kind of turned it on, so maybe he's listening to the radio, or somebody say, hey, this podcast, this Sports Minute, got a Braves fan out there that's calling you out, and he's kind of turned it on. So maybe Adam fueled the fire a little bit. So, Chris, why don't you pull up the American League All-Stars?
Sure.
You want me to read them off?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead.
Okay. So the American League elected starters, and it's a surprise at catcher is Alejandro Kirk. He's been doing so well for the Blue Jays. Yep. Also for the Blue Jays at first base, you got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Second base, Jose Altuve from the Astros. You'll hear the boos loud and proud at Dodger Stadium there.
Most likely, yep.
Third baseman, you got Rafael Devers at third for Boston. At shortstop, you got Tim Anderson, the Chicago White Sox. Hi, mess around. One of the outfield spots, Aaron Judge from the New York Yankees. Outfielder Mike Trout from the Angels. And then also from the New York Yankees, Juan Carlos Stanton. The designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani. The legacy selection is Miguel Cabrera from the Detroit Tigers.
Yep. No, I definitely, so far, I'm okay with those starters. I don't know about you guys. I mean, yeah, like Will said, or James said, Kirk behind the plate, kind of a shocker, but no other catches kind of stood out to me that
No.
much. Trout, it sounds like he
The
might
one,
be on
even
the.
though
Go ahead, John. Oh, must have cut
my
out.
apologies, my internet's been
Oh,
cutting out, so I don't.
okay.
I wouldn't say it's a surprise, but honestly, I'm gonna be booing Altuve in every single Astro the whole time while I have my trash can right next to me, and I'm gonna hit it with a baseball bat just because I
Yeah.
can't stand the Astros. I know I live in Houston, but I just can't do it.
So James, I mean, you being the Angels fan, do you want Trout to play? I know it's kind of 50-50 right now.
At this point, you want the recognition, of course, and being in the same market as the All Star game is going to be in. You haven't played maybe a couple of innings, but that's it. As you may have heard, he has back spasm issue again. Came out of the game last night against the Astros. I don't think he's playing tonight, so it's kind of iffy, how he's going to be for the rest of the season. So this might be the only attention he'll get, depending on how bad his back is.
All right, and we're joined by Messer on there. I kind of see him, Chris. If you can pull that down, Messer, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. I had some issues getting in. It kept saying my camera wasn't working, the audio wasn't working, so I had to reboot the computer.
Technical issues. So far, you happy that Tim Anderson's represent the White Sox there?
Yeah, I'm happy. I don't know that he deserves it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's got the batting average, but he's missed a lot of time. His batting average is good, but like I said, he missed a lot of time. I thought maybe Bichette from the Blue Jays probably deserved it a little more.
Okay. All right, James, keep going on with the reserves, please, for the American League.
The offensive reserves: catcher Jose Trevino from the New York Yankees, from Big B's Minnesota Twins Luis Arias from again Arias. Second baseman is Andres Jimenez from the Guardians. Third baseman is Jose Ramirez from Cleveland. Shortstop Xander Bogaerts from the Red Sox. Also from Big B's Twins, Byron Buxton. Outfielder Kyle Tucker from the Astros. George Springer from the Blue Jays. Andrew Benintendi from the Royals. I think the lone Royal representative. Julio Rodriguez gets his first All-Star game, and it's very, very good to see him, take the spotlight. He's coming from the Mariners, who are hot as of late.
Yep.
Yordan Alvarez is one of the DHs, and then JD Martinez will be there as a DH with the Boston Red Sox. Hi, Christy.
Alvarez is getting replaced.
That's right.
By Martinez, and then, like you said, then you got Cabrera in there for the legacy. So, Julio Rodriguez for the Mariners, I think, is injured. I thought I heard something. There was a Mariner injury, one of the young studs. I don't know if it was him or somebody else, but
I don't have him injured here, but that could change.
I don't have him injured either. All right, what about our pitching staff?
We have a plethora of starting pitchers. Shane McClanahan, who's been on fire this year for the Tampa Bay Rays. I believe they're lone representative because some players aren't doing as well. They're young guys. Justin Verlander making his comeback with the Astros. Alek Manoah of the Blue Jays, who has done so well. We've got a pair of Yankees, Nestor Corres, who's very popular on social media, also a great pitcher. Garrett Cole as well. Shohei Ohtani. The lone Oakland Athletic, Paul Blackburn, will be a starting pitcher. And then the lone Texas Ranger will be Martin Perez. And then Framber Valdez will be the last starting pitcher from the Houston Astros.
Okay. So, for me, I'm a Twins fan, but I'm kind of like with mess around with Anderson. I mean, he missed a lot of time. You put up the numbers. I mean, I'm glad he got in, but my Luis Rise definitely should have got in for sure. I'm glad he got in. Pitching staff, I see no problems. You guys see anybody that could have or should not.
Robbie
be on
Ray of the Seattle Mariners. I thought maybe that he would have got in over some guys, but you know how there has to be at least one representative from each club, so that kind of took him out of consideration.
Which I think is, I still think that rule is stupid. I do. That's just.
I don't like it.
Um,
Send a bad boy for the Pirates.
exactly. Dave, mess around. What do you think? You okay with that roster? I mean, it's only
The one guy that I really thought that should have been in there, and that's Dylan Cease, who's pitched lights out for the White Sox this year.
Yeah.
I thought he should have been in there over some of those pitchers, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And once they take it out, the fans voting, we might get a better All-Star. But I mean, once the fans are in there,
I do have one more. Logan Gilbert of the Mariners. He's 10-3, and he has 100 strikeouts. I thought maybe him as well.
Yeah, I think I heard something that they have 13 first-timers in here.
That
year.
sounds right.
Yeah, and each year it's gone up. I think a couple years ago it was like 9 or 10, and the last year was 10, 11, 12, and this year's 13. So a lot of young blood getting in there. What do you think about the commissioner's exemption and putting Pujols and Cabrera both on the roster? What do you guys think, James?
I understand why you do it. It's kind of a farewell tour. But I think Cabrera has one more year on his contract. I know Pujols is probably going to retire. So, it's good for the game. It's good for television and all that. But I would rather be without it. I'd rather give that to, someone who deserves it, that other roster spot. I'd rather do it that way.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think of Pujols and Cabrera getting on there?
I mean, good. Good for them. They are legends of the game. And if it is their final year, I mean, why not put them, in their final All-Star game? Not only for the recognition, but based on their performance of their careers.
Masseron, what do you think?
Of the legacy picks?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I would rather not. I'd rather, these guys have had their time. They've been there.
Yep.
It's kind of like when Jordan is in the final year, they put him in the All-Star game, and there's a big controversy of whether Vince Carter should let Jordan start. And he ultimately did let Jordan start. So, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary.
Mr. Doctor, what do you think? Having the legacies picked in?
My analysis as a doctor of football, because again, I am Dr. Phil of football without all the drama, so you can't catch me outside. How about that? But honestly, I think it's stupid. Like, this is what I hate also about sports too, is that, yes, Astros boo. They're literally related to Oscar the Grouch because they hit trash cans. But it's dumb because it's almost like a sympathy vote. Like, oh, this is last year. If you didn't earn it, who gives a crap? Yeah. Who gives a rat's ass? If you didn't, that's the thing about sport. It's not like Madden or 2K where you can cheat or put it on rookie mode like someone we know and brag about that championship. If you didn't earn it, who cares? Like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Like, I don't agree with Jordan starting that game. I don't care about your career. The All-Star game is for this year.
Yep.
Not 20 years ago. Not when you did 3 years ago. The fact is, I think it's dumb. I'm not saying because I truly hate the Astros, but it doesn't make sense. Like, you're basically doing as a sympathy. It's like if you interview for a job.
Yeah.
Really?
I agree. I mean, I don't.
But it's like when you hire, like, you get a job and you only hire me because it's because of my father is X, Y, and Z, and not because I'm actually qualified. That's stupid. Yep. So why would you do that in sports?
I like the gesture. I think we all do. I could have gone without it, but one thing is I hope Pujols petitions himself to pitch in there. I think would be one thing. I think let him go out there and throw to a batter or something. I think would top it off. Let him go out and throw to Cabrera. I think let's do it that way. All right. So a couple weeks ago, I found on a Facebook page and I shared it. Somebody posted the greatest each team's greatest player for MLB. Chris, you can pull up the American League one because I think that's the one. I think most of us are. Okay, we'll go NL first. So.
Well, I just clicked on a.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So every American MLB team GOAT they call it, and this is the NL. So Diamondbacks have Randy Johnson's, Braves Hank Aaron, Cubs Ernie Banks,
there we go.
Pete Rose, Colorado Todd Hudson, Dodgers Sandy Koufax, Marlins Stanton, Brewers Robin Yount, Tom Seaver for the Mets, Mike Schmidt for Philly, Hornets Wagner for Pitt, Tony Gwynn for the Padres, Willie Mays for the Giants, Bob Gibson for the Cardinals, and Andre Dawson for Washington/Expos. So I don't have any big gripes about that list. I think the NL was pretty well represented. Okay, go ahead. What do you got?
Pittsburgh, I would put Barry Bonds over Wagner. Or not Pittsburgh, but the Giants. I would put Bonds over Mays.
Ooh.
No.
Ooh. That's a tough call. I could hear arguments for it, mess around.
Yeah.
Giants. I mean, even for Pittsburgh, I mean, you put Bonds in there for either of those teams. Robin Yount. I mean, you could have put Raleigh Fingers there, Paul Molitor. I mean, I'm not too. Dodgers. I mean, Sandy Koufax definitely, but I mean, you had
Dodgers.
Oral Hershiser. You could have put Piazza. I mean, Piazza could have went to the Marlins. I mean, what do you guys say, James? You guys got any?
Bob Gibson, I understand how great he was. He was one of my favorite pitchers, learning about him growing up. I thought, when I think of the Cardinals, though, I think of Stan the Man Musial. I don't know why, but maybe with Gibson and the championships, I could think of that. The thing, I hate when teams move, of course, and you had the Expos and the Nationals together. For me, with the Expos, it's always a toss-up because, you can have Andre Dawson, you can have Tim Raines.
Randy Johnson was there.
Gary Carter.
Yep.
With the Nationals, we all know who's Mr. Nat, and that's Ryan Zimmerman. So, I would kind of switch it there, And then there was another one. If you could bring that back up, Chris. I was trying to remember what it was. Because, Tony Gwynn, of course, Hannes Wagner before my time. But his baseball card is worth millions, so I guess you put that there. Michael Jack Smith, that's fine. With the Marlins, Stanton was awesome, but he's more known, of course, as a Yankee now. For me, for the Florida, I would either put like Miguel Cabrera or Jeff Conine, or I'm trying to think of someone else, but I want to go recent when it comes to all that. Yeah. But the other ones, I'm fine with. I mean, Randy Johnson. You can also think of Luis Gonzalez, Paul Goldschmidt. It varies with those expansion teams, but other from that, I think all of them are fine. Mr. Met is Tom Seaver for me. Yeah, Pete Rose, Mr. Red, Ernie, Mr. Cub. I'm fine with that.
Nope, I'm good. John or Chris or Dave, you guys, or do we hear from Dave? But John or Chris?
I have no problem. I mean, I don't know much about it, so I mean, I'm kind of a little way underqualified for right now, but I don't have a problem with the list. I mean, I guess that's it. I'm sorry. Like, this is my first year watching baseball, so this like me in 2006 with football. It's going to take a while before I can actually do a good analysis.
Chrissy or Dave, Chrissy's kind of disagreeing with you a little bit. Mays is more of a GOAT than Bonds ever was.
That's fine, but
I can.
Whoa! I don't know much about baseball, but I can tell you this: all my years watching sports, what is the name? Obviously, you've heard my name. One of them I've heard.
Yep.
Is Barry Bonds, but I mean, we can ask. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that'd be a big discussion, But all right, Chris, let's move on to the American League. This is the league I follow the most. So I have a lot of disagreements. I mean, so start off Baltimore, Cal Ripken, Red Sox, Ted Williams, Frank Thomas for the Sox, Bob Fedler for Indians, Ty Cobb for Detroit, Jeff Bagwell for Houston, Brett for the Royals, Mike Trout for the Angels, Puckett for the Twins, Babe Ruth for the Yankees, Ricky Henderson for the Oakland A's, Ken Griffey for Seattle, Evan Longoria for the Rays, Juan Gonzalez for Texas, and Joe Carter for the Blue Jays. Now, I'm going to start off probably with the shocker because I am a big Kirby Puckett fan.
Oh, God.
And
Don't do that.
he's not the go to the Twins. I'm sorry.
Oh.
You got Killebrew, you got Carew, you got Oliva, you got Puckett. Yes, I mean, one. No, trust me. Me personally, yeah, Puckett's the Twin. But being a fan, one to me, Harmon Killebrew is the face of baseball. He's the logo.
Mm-hmm.
How can you not have him up there? Killebrew, Carew, both. So that's one. Frank Thomas, I got to agree with the White Sox. Bagwell, I mean, Houston, you go quite a different ways with it. Angels, there's another one, too. I mean, Reggie Jackson.
No.
You got Glad. I mean, I'm not mad that Trout's up there. Yankees, you go with anybody but Babe Ruth, probably. Oakland, big Ricky Henderson fan. That could have went.
They have
Reggie
good players
Jackson.
in Oakland?
Oh yeah. Back in the
They
80s and
wow.
early 90s, you gotta go watch.
Oh yeah,
some
when Blackwood was around, I forgot about that.
But outside of that, Texas, Nolan Ryan possibly.
For both Texas teams. You're saying for both Texas teams.
Yeah, exactly. He could have went both ways. But where's Reggie Jackson at? I mean, that's the one.
Oakland should have had Reggie Jackson, but I think Ricky Henderson. I don't know. I love Ricky more than Reggie.
Yep.
I'll say that.
Yeah,
one thing
you can't get the name Mr. October and not be on the list.
But he did that with the Yankees, though.
That is true. He did do it with the Yankees. So
for me, for Chris's Rangers,
yeah.
I'd rather have Ivan Rodriguez than Juan Gonzalez.
Yep.
For the Astros, I thought Biggio
is better. Yep.
more
I was
than
thinking the same
Bagwell.
thing with the Astros, Biggio, yeah.
Joe Carter. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Joe Carter with the Jays. I know he hit the most important hit in franchise history, so maybe that's why he got there. And he had productive years there as well.
Yep.
Shoot. There's others you could throw in there.
Alomar, or Roberto Alomar, I'm sorry, that could have been up there for the
Yeah. I don't have a problem with the Rays one because that was like the first year, 2008, and Longoria was kind of the face of the Rays. Again, other from that, all of them are good. Other from the ones I mentioned, Mike Trout, with the Angels, you also throw in Ohtani.
Yeah,
it seems like
Ohtani's
there.
So he's there.
But you also have Vladimir, Tim Salmon, Garrett Anderson, Nolan Ryan. But I think Mike Trout, in this generation's eyes, he's like the best player because of the analytical stats, I guess. But
analytics my ass.
Chrissy said definitely, but you could.
Mario Yastrzemski, I would put in there as well. Pedro Martinez, Manny Ramirez.
Tim Hendricks me as a big Twins fan, and
Jim Rice, Dwight Evans. There's so many other Red Sox, but I think Ted is up there.
Yankees and Red Sox, you guys could throw out a lot of players.
You fill the whole team.
Yeah. So
here's what I'm not getting though. Why is Mike I don't know if you'll forgive me. I said interesting. James, I don't know why I forgot your name for a minute. It's been that day.
It's right here.
It's been one of those days, dude, that I want to slap somebody, but we'll talk about that after the show. How is Mike Trout the best player come out of the Angels? Was he on that championship team in 2002?
No, I know.
So why is he? I get it, but analytics in sports are stupid. And if anybody looks at analytics for your main stats, for your main points for football, baseball, whatever, just quit podcasting right now because it's like bolstering one stat to make your other stuff look better. And no, I'm sorry, but I disagree with that one. But that's for another
His
day.
biggest thing, I think, is when he came up, he came out 19 in 2011 at the age of 19.
How many playoff series wins do they have with Mike Trout?
Just one.
Well, exactly.
Exactly.
You're right. You're right about that. I'm not trying to argue for him.
I'm not arguing.
I'm just trying. I mean, he just came out right away, age 20, All Star. I mean,
Right.
he's put up double-digit home runs every year. He's just got that young boy face at the time, and he was playing the game right, making great plays. I mean, I'm with you, John. I don't
Honestly,
know how.
when their career is done, I would rather have Shohei Ohtani. If we're talking about from like the past 5 or so years, we're not talking about all time. Because I think the way he pitches, and I've seen him like not in person, but like just watching him, like this dude got skill. This guy's a dog. So honestly, I hate in baseball to a certain extent. Maybe y'all can agree where we glorify losing because they have a good hitting percentage sometimes, and that to me bothers me. So I definitely disagree with putting Mike Trout on there.
No, I see. So Dave, what do you think of that GOAT list there?
Of the list,
Yeah.
I would have put Mark McGwire over Ricky Henderson.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's a one out of left field, Dave.
That's a take.
That is. I mean, it's arguable. I mean, I definitely can hear arguments on it. I mean, Dave, I know you're a Frank Thomas fan, so that's probably no doubter there for you. I mean,
And Frank Thomas, yeah, it's
yeah,
hands down the greatest White Sox ever. So I have no problem with that. Texas, I probably would have gone with Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
And then the Angels, I like James. I was holding for Guerrero. I like Vlad Guerrero there too.
Yeah, I think Glad there. Chris, how about you? What do you think of?
I mean, the
what's you think of
list
that
looks the list looks good. I'm kind of with Tim Hendricks a little bit. Maybe you put Nolan Ryan in there, but you can put.
And honestly, you could put Nolan
Texas
Ryan with the Angels. I think he pitched a few years there.
Yeah, he was there the longest with the Angels and threw
okay.
the 4 no-hitters.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Why is Shula still? Tim wants to know why Shula still Jackson. Why not Shula still Jackson? Well, it might be some kind of legal, expectations from there. Tim, I think was around when Shula still Jackson played.
Right.
Yeah. So that's well, we do have one more major league topic. Today the Blue Jays fired their manager. Not playing to our potential is the headline here. So what did you guys think of that news? Chris, I'll start with you a little bit here. Blue Jays firing their manager.
I mean, it's been, from what I hear, they had high hopes, and it's not going the way they intended, to happen. There's still a lot of season left, and they will probably catch up, after the All-Star break, but it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, James, how about you? What do you think Blue Jays firing?
I really thought that was going to happen. I know they're 46-42. They are. They have the third wild card spot, the newest spot. It just seemed like the environment didn't really energy environment did not fare well with Montoyo. I think that was just maybe just one thing out of many, but the GM didn't really say, all of the things. He just gave the cliche answers. But maybe the locker room didn't respond to him after a while, and maybe someone else will come in and then they'll go off. And I'm just wondering too, and I want to know what Mess Around Dave thinks with the White Sox and La Russa. because I know, in his third year now,
Second year.
second year, that's right, second year, that there's been friction, and then it seems like this year they're not playing as well, injuries and all that. Is LaRussa the next to go if they continue to, be average? I always want to know what Dave thought about him.
Honestly, I'm surprised he wasn't the next guy before the Blue Jays manager got fired. I was hoping when I saw MLB manager gets axed, because that's all I saw. I didn't see it was Blue Jays. I just saw MLB manager gets axed. I was hoping and praying it was the LaRussa, but then I clicked on it, and it said it was the Blue Jay guy, and I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, no, I was there too. John, what do you think of the Blue Jays firing?
I think winning isn't everything. Like, you can win and win, but if your locker room culture is worse than the Kardashian drama TV show, like when it's so bad to the point where you can't handle like what you're trying to do, maybe what you're able to do, then it matters. Just like obviously with putting around with the Raiders or whatever, or any sport. Despite the time where you could go, it's so toxic that you just gotta get. I mean, they see 46 and 42.
Mm-hmm.
If you're winning and have that third wild card spot, it tells me that it's not that you weren't producing, it's that you had such a toxic locker room that it just wasn't worth it. And for Dave's White Sox, I think they're doing a Chicago Bears approach. When it hits the fan, they wait till the offseason and then they'll let go of their god.
All right. So I was kind of shocked too, like Dave said. I thought for sure it was going to be LaRussa from the White Sox, but before we move on, just looking at the standings here, if I told you a team had a 10-game winning streak, how many would pick the Orioles as having that 10-game winning streak?
Well, they did they did sweep the Angels 4 straight. Everybody gets healthy when they play the Angels.
Yeah. But I mean, they're only 2 games out of a wild card spot right now, and I can guarantee none of us 5 have the Baltimore Orioles in the playoff race.
No way.
I
if anybody put money,
I don't think I did.
No, I watched the Orioles put on White Sox a couple weeks back, and their defense is so good. Like everything that's hit out to the alley, it would have been a hit for sure. You thought, but no, they came up with the catch. They made the touchdown. That defense is fast.
In center field, their center fielder, that dude gets to everything. In the gaps.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to pull this comment up, and I don't like it. LaRussa will never get fired because the owner brought him back because he felt bad for firing him the first time before. Dave, you're a White Sox fan. I don't agree with that statement. If you are doing bad,
I honestly do think they brought him back because of that, because they did fire him back in the day.
Back in the 80s. Come on now.
He did feel bad for it, so. But I don't think he's got his at least as far as Isaiah says he does. So
grow the fart out. Who cares if you offended him? It's called a freaking business, you coward.
Yep, exactly. I don't think they brought him back.
Nah.
All right, so let's move on to NBA here quick. As we all know, we talked about a little bit behind the scenes. The Jazz and Knicks are in talks of a big trade involving Donovan Mitchell going to the New York Knicks. James, I know you're probably the best basketball guy that we have out of this panel right now. So what do you think?
Hey, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, first of all, it is interesting to know Donovan Mitchell is 4th in the whole league in points per game. And I think he's in elite company with Doncic, LeBron, and Durant. So if the Knicks get a guy like that, instantly they are something. The biggest factor, though, if a trade does happen, of course, is all the picks that the Knicks have throughout the years in the future. And then they should positively keep R.J. Barrett. You have to keep him. You could get pretty much rid of anybody else. But R.J. Barrett, you drafted him. You couldn't get Zion, so you're stuck with R.J. Barrett. So not only do you bring in Brunson for free agency and Hartenstein, you got to also keep R.J. Barrett. Now the trade I saw, a mock one, I guess. Evan Fournier, Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, Cam Reddish, 6 first-round picks.
Holy
I
crap!
would do that if I'm the Jazz or Knicks. I'm doing that. I feel like both teams. This is almost to me not like the Carmelo trade per se. You know, when he was traded from Denver to the Knicks because they got some veterans back in that trade, but it's something for the Jazz to truly start over because they need to. You knew when Rudy Gobert was traded to your Wolves, Big B, that, hey, something's going to happen more. There's a domino effect with the Jazz. They can go only as far as they could with Donovan Mitchell and Gobert together. Now you're basically saying, well, it's all on Mitchell, whatever he wants to do. As I said, though, I think they should start over in Utah. And then with the Knicks, I think instantly you become, depending on what else they do with the roster, instantly you become in the playoffs. And they were on the outside looking in before, 2021 they got in. But it just seems like they're missing that jolt, that one superstar. And I think if they get that with Mitchell, and one thing I want to mention, it seems like there was a lot of trades with a lot of draft picks, this draft. It seems like for the future, draft picks really aren't worth much, especially if you're not in the top 10. So, depending where all those 6th-round picks are going to be, via Detroit, Dallas, Washington, Milwaukee, franchises are going to go back and forth, and winning and losing in all those years. You might mess around and if you're Utah, you might mess around and get, a top 3, top 4 pick. You never know. So I think if you're Utah, you do this deal and then and you just build from the ground up like Oklahoma City has. And then if you're Knicks, you become instantly back in the playoffs and in the spotlight. We need the Knicks to be good for the NBA to really thrive, in my opinion. So I think this trade, however it gets done without RJ Barrett, it should get done, hopefully.
All right, so Messer, what do you think?
Yeah, the Knicks, they've been a dumpster fire for years. Since Melo. Even when they had Melo, they weren't that good. So, and Melo was their last true big star. So I agree with James. Getting a guy, another star like, Spida, it makes them into playoff contenders. I'm not saying they're going to come out of the East and win the finals, but it puts them back into relevancy. And like James said, having the Knicks be good is great for the NBA. It's like in the age you had the Pistons, the Bulls, and the Knicks. And the NBA was great. We need to get back to that level of basketball.
Chris, how about you? What do you think of the big proposed trade that James found rumored to be?
I mean, it would be big, but we've seen crazier trades in other sports, and including the NBA. So,
John, how about you being Mr. Basketball? What do you think?
I didn't say I was Mr. Basketball. I'm saying there wasn't the only one that knew basketball.
I know.
Would definitely be better than Richard Jefferson being a referee, but that's neither here nor there. I think
that was awesome.
If their championship window has been closed for a good hot minute. And you've had the past 3 to 4, maybe 5 seasons. And I said this about, I think there's another team, like Buffalo in the NFL. You have the next 2 or 3 years where you're screwed. And now you go back to Donovan Mitchell in this team. You trade one of your best players. What is the message that sends not just the organization but the fans? You're going to rebuild, and what is the process when you're rebuilding? We believe in Mitchell. He's our guy. He's going to be here long term. And 2 days later, boom, you're dumped into New York. So I think for Dean Pladino's sake and his mental health, I think it'd be good for the Knicks to be I guess you could say good in the NBA, because as long as you have also James Dolan focusing on, I believe, on was it the Rangers or another team in baseball, then I think you'll be fine. Because James Dolan is an absolute fraud, but I think it would be interesting. But like I think James said or after that, if you trade RJ Barrett away, this trade is a bust for the New York Knicks. Because what the potential of RJ Barrett can do with what Donovan Mitchell's experience in the playoffs. I didn't say he was great, but he had these play games in the playoffs. Build out with RJ Barrett and this team, that would be interesting to watch. I would actually watch the Knicks game for the first time. But if you trade RJ Barrett, I mean, that's just stupid, because what is the point? You're trying to get a piece together with RJ Barrett, not trade for a guy to be your number one or number two guy next to the number one. So if you trade RJ Barrett away, man, the Knicks need to just be eliminated from the NBA and bring the Supersonics back to Seattle.
So I was looking around, see if I can find a story. Came across this proposed, and I couldn't remember what James said for the proposed trade, but Knicks, it's on that ESPN trade machine. Somebody posted this on there. So
Wow.
Knicks would get Donovan Mitchell, which would give them +3 wins from last year. Okay. So the Jazz would get Randall, Reddish, and McBride for the cap, and the sixth round or the 6 first-round picks. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them are in next year's draft.
Wow.
So turn that with the Wolves pick in next year's draft. That gives them 6 picks in the next year's draft, and then the other 2 would come in the 2005 draft, first-round picks. So honestly, if I'm the Jazz and this was offered, even if I was the Knicks and this was offered, I think I'd take it on both sides of the team. Especially if the Knicks call me up and offer this, I'm saying yes right away.
100%. I think when you look at it though, like you said, draft picks are not as valuable as they used to be, because you used to stick with your farm and trust the process with Embiid and with Simmons. And I'm not just talking about Philadelphia. Trust the process, and what has the process got him? Simmons is in Brooklyn, and he may not be there the next 2 to 3 seasons. So you're seeing it in the NBA right now, and the past couple of years, since it is a 3-point league, or getting towards that, toward pretty much almost anybody, even the security guard there they're shooting threes. I mean, that indicates that, hey, I mean, trade is really going to be your opportunity. Bucks had a simple because they traded. It's the other teams that have won a championship because they traded. So, I mean, it'd be interesting to see. But for his sake, I hope Mitchell goes, because, if your window is closed and you keep him on your team, everybody in that organization needs to be fired immediately.
Yeah. So I mean, and actually, if you count the Jazz's original pick, I mean, that's 7 first-rounders next year. And the proposed was they would get Detroit's first-round pick, Washington's first-round pick, Dallas' first-round pick, and Milwaukee's first-round pick. So, I mean, 2 or 3 of those are going to be in the top 10 at least. So they could build. I mean, I don't know what the draft class looks like right now, but I know they got scouts working on that nonstop. But I don't know about you guys, but if I'm the Jazz and the Knicks, I agree to this right away. So, Chris, what do you think?
Yeah. I would agree to it right away. I mean,
you're blowing it up already. You already traded Gobert away, and and everybody knows you want Mitchell out of there. But what's that say to Durant and other superstars? I mean, what's Durant's asking price going to be now if this trade goes through, James?
Man, it also depends where, though. If you go to a contender, of course, with Kevin Durant, it's going to be just like the Jazz Knicks trade, if so, where you're going to have to put in a plethora of first-round picks, add some seconds in there as well, without trying to destroy your core roster and bench. That's going to be the hardest thing, whichever contender Durant goes to. And you heard them all. I heard a story where supposedly Stephen Curry was trying to get KD to come back to the Warriors and for them to make a trade. Now, they have the pieces that you could put together future-wise with picks, and then on the roster now, you can make a good trade there. I don't know if anybody wants to see KD back on the Warriors. We all know it would be Warriors world again. But you could also throw in, the Celtics or, honestly, I would love to see Durant go to is the Bulls. I think that would be fun. I really do.
I saw
That'd be
Dave's
good,
eyes perk up when you said Bulls. So
Oh yeah, I'd love to see Durant on the Bulls. I just don't think we have the assets or the picks to make it happen. Unless we can bring a third team in on the deal.
that's what I think it's going to take. It's going to take a third team with assets to pull off a trade to to Golden State, to both the LA teams, to teams that are interested. So, Chris, what do you think? What do you think the price is going to be if this trade goes through? I mean, what's that say for Durant? I mean,
I'm bad with salary cap, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot of money, a lot of draft, capital.
and that's the one thing with the NBA is they got to have a certain amount of salary cap line up. But our man Tim Hendricks, right now, I think he wants to be the owner of the Jazz because he might. If he pulls out that trade, then heck, you got 6-7 first-round picks next year.
I mean, think about what
That's what it
LA
was.
did when they traded for Davis and some of those guys. In Westbrook, they gave up a lot of first-round picks because first-round picks aren't guaranteed. It doesn't mean that you're going to keep them around.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, honestly, Jazz would have all the assets, but who's going to be around Durant? I mean,
Right.
And I know Isaiah's been watching. I'll say right now there is Isaiah. I would say right now there's a 10% chance he goes to the Lakers.
Here's what I think about that.
No.
It's not going to happen. Sorry, I said that was a fart because there's no way he's going to LA.
They have no assets. I mean,
And there's no way KD wants to play with LeBron. There's just no way.
I honestly, I don't think anybody wants to play with LeBron. Really, I mean that's just me. though.
Who
guess
wouldn't?
not now.
Once regardless of where LeBron goes, it's his team, it's his way or the highway.
Yep.
And who's gonna be wearing the pants in that relationship? You sure it's not the organization?
Exactly. All right, guys. Anything you guys want to bounce off quick? We got a few minutes left here. Mesro, we'll start with you. I'll start with you. So, any topic you want to throw out there quick?
There was a minor trade in the NFL yesterday.
Oh my God!
My Bears traded the 7th-round pick to the Patriots for
Nikhil
Harry. Yeah.
For who?
All right.
Nikhil, a 4 first-round pick from New England in 2019.
Oh, okay. A former first-round pick, and they got.
Yeah,
him
he was a former first-round pick of the Patriots.
Wow.
And you traded.
He was
a
drafted
7th
before Debo and Metcalf, if you can believe that, and A.J. Brown.
Nice. Oh yeah, I'm reading it right now.
Oh
Bears get Patriots wide receiver Harry for a 7th-round pick. All right. Well, you can tell that didn't work out, right? So that gives you what now? 3 receivers on your roster, Dave?
Yes.
They don't count as receivers because, and this is what pisses me. I'm not a Bears fan, but if your dumbass organization does the same bullshit with what you did, with your former quarterback, then you deserve to lose. You have a franchise quarterback. Why on the 81's green earth are you trading for Nikhil Harry? You have a top receiver in Allen Robinson. And what does your dumbass do?
We let him walk.
Like, seriously, you're basically saying, screw you, Justin Fields, we hate you. You can't
Pretty
say
much.
you believe in Justin Fields and you trade away Allen Robinson. Stupid.
We let him walk, yeah.
Honestly, I mean, if you're getting a former #1 pick, yeah, I mean, picks are,
There's a reason why they got a 7th-round pick for him.
I honestly take a flyer on. It cost me a 7th-round pick to get a former #1 in there that had a bad time in New England. I mean,
Or you could have.
well, yeah,
I mean,
you signed your other
because
guys.
Chicago also had a former first-round pick receiver, and he went to
Yeah.
Cincinnati. And how did that work out?
Oh yeah, I mean it's hit or miss. I mean, so
It's worth a shot. I mean, it's 7th-round pick. They traded for him.
I actually like the trade. I really hope he does good. Except for the games that he plays against the Vikings.
You don't have a clear #1 receiver, though. Like, it's not a guarantee.
Oh no, you're right. They don't.
And if you have Justin Fields, who is a guy who can perform, but We need to see his potential in 2022. And how can you see that when you have receivers who are just like, where's the football? I forgot how to catch it. Oh my gosh, I dropped it like this right in the championship game. So it's not good for Justin Fields. I mean, it's decent. Like, I mean, we'll see. It's not like you lose the trade because if it doesn't work, you can just release him 7th round
Just
pick.
watch. We're going to shock the world this year, I'm telling you.
I hope you do, but for his sake. But
1, 2, 3.
Allen Robinson, you could have paid him a 3 or 4 year. Do what you did with Terry McLaurin in Washington.
They got 13 receivers on roster right now.
Somebody's got to stick. Somebody's got to stick.
I don't know, Dave.
Who should stay or who should go?
Here's what you should have done.
I mean,
Jarvis
realistically,
Landry
I
was
mean-
a free agent.
Yeah, we
Jarvis
got
Landry was a free agent.
Byron Pringle from Kansas City, and then we got Ecomania St. Brown from the Packers, and then we got Darnell Mooney and Belvis Jones, who we drafted.
And you
We
got
got some
like
potential
you
there.
got like 6 tight ends right now on their roster. So
Well, that's better than last year. We had like 12.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. John, how about you?
Yeah.
You got a topic you want to toss out there?
Yes, I want to publicly call out Tyreek Hill and his dumbass. You're the same idiot, and if I'm wrong about this, and I hope he sees this or sees my social media, I'll buy you a steak dinner if I'm wrong about that. I'm dead serious. Your dumbass compared the 2022 weapons of the Dolphins to the 2019 Chiefs weapons. Are you stupid? This from Pro Football Talk. Credit to him for getting the quote. Patrick Mahomes nearly 6,000 yards, nearly had 60+ touchdowns. I get stupid because it's a stupid quote. You were pissed last year. You threw a freaking tantrum. You had a career year in receptions. You had over 100+ receptions, and yet you were still complaining. I'm not getting the ball enough. Yeah, it's called an offense, you freaking idiot. I mean, seriously, it's like, and I'm saying this makes me mad because, like, there's a difference between hyping up your quarterback, and I think he's doing what Brandon Marshall did with Jay Cutler, but to a bigger extreme, because obviously he admitted on first day like 3 years ago, Jay Cutler's not my guy. I get it. He got paid because they didn't really believe in Tua, but comparing the weapons of the 2022 Dolphins to a team who I believe it was that season won the Super Bowl, the season after, who Mahomes had an MVP year, nearly 60+ touchdowns. I mean, that's the stupidest quote of the offseason. I mean, this guy's a public idiot. And if I'm wrong about the Dolphins this year, I'll personally buy a mistake dinner. This is a stupid quote.
All right. So, Tim throws out there. Did we talk about Zach Wilson? I don't know the whole history behind Zach Wilson.
I don't want to. No.
No,
Yeah, it's too controversial. Let's pass on it. I saw something, but I didn't read the whole story. So no.
Hey.
we'll leave that to Barstool Sports because they're kind of a crappy sports network.
right.
They just talk about anything.
Now we'll look into that one, Tim, and see what's going on.
I was a meme about that last night. To 4 rows about Zach Wilson, Jets just got new left and Stifler's mom.
Oh. Okay, yeah, we'll pass on that one. So, Chris, you got anything?
I think I'm good.
All right. All right. James, how about you? You got something going on?
You know, when Miss Round Dave thought, when Miss Round Dave mentioned a trade, I thought he was going to talk about Zach Wilson making a trade. I really did. I thought he was going to go.
I'm reading it right now. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
If you guys want to hear us talk about it, we'll break it down.
There's more of a signing trade, or there's a signing trade or a release, really, actually.
Yeah.
Because, well,
You know, mess around. I wonder if the Bears would take Willie Gault back at this point on the wide receiving corps. He was really good back in the day.
David Terrell back at this point.
Yeah. Well, I think I just have to give a shout out again to Callum McClurg doing the Angel game there in Anaheim. There he is doing the public addressing. And that little funny thing about, and John mentioned this earlier, about Richard Jefferson being a summer league ref.
Yeah.
He, of course, is an analyst with the New Jersey
I saw
Brooklyn
that.
Nets and the ESPN family of networks.
Do we
somebody
know
kept
why he was in there, or was it scheduled for him to be a ref?
Yeah, I would just schedule for him
Oh,
to.
okay.
I don't know if he did the whole game or not, but somebody made a meme where he said, "Hey, he had 11 missed calls, 5 incorrect gestures,
And one ball
and
hit.
then, of course, 1 ball hit." Yeah, so
Yeah, and
I thought
All
that
right.
was. Nope.
All right, Chris, how about you? What you got going on? Final thoughts.
Tomorrow's tomorrow's Ohio Valley Wrestling. And then, we have our other shows coming this week, so just stay with Coast to Coast, and we're also live on Amazon.
Yep. John, how about you?
I will. ESPN. Next time, do your research. I won't say what, but y'all can go on Twitter and YouTube to figure out what they're talking about for ESPN and their mistakes. Because sorry, that was just too funny. But it was a good show, and at this point, I'm not gonna do a video. But Cavs, I divorce you. Screw you. Up yours. I'm out of here.
yeah.
All right. Mess around. How about you? What you got going on?
Congrats to our guy Callan doing the PA thing today. That's awesome. Living out one of his dreams. So big shout out to Callan for doing that. And like Chris said, keep watching Coast to Coast, and eyes in for great content coming.
Yep. And then looking at the Angels score right now, it's top of 8, 7-1.
We're winning?
Now, yeah, Angels are winning.
Oh my God!
You know why? Because I'm not watching it. That's
no, because watch this. Count is a PA, and that's our game next time, and they win another game. So maybe Count needs to just continue to do it.
So I mean, he got to live a dream. He got to Otani. He got to call him, but no, big shout out to Callan. And one last thing I want to bring up, since we brought up umping and stuff, people got to lay off people. The Twins lost a game the other day against the Rangers. Buxton hit a liner down third baseline, blocked the umpire, who, of course, Angel Hernandez, who blows everything. He called it a foul ball. It landed on the line. Couldn't review it, which I think is, again, one of the ridiculous things. If you're able to review that or not able to review that, then don't review anything. Questionable call. Umps make mistakes. Twins lost. I'm not upset about it because, hey, it was a missed call. It happens. So lay off of them. I mean, yeah, we will blow up at them. So, well, that being said, again,
either Twins lost.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, just lay off the umps. Nobody can make a perfect call every time. So
they're not robots.
With that being said, again, keep checking out Coast to Coast. OBW tomorrow, Between the Ropes Sunday, on deck. Hopefully this week we had some tech issues and some staffing issues, and Tuesday Night Mania. And then we'll see you guys all back here next week for Sports Minute. Have a good day.